Hello! Happy Wednesday! It's time for another book basket. And sometimes when you want to film a video, what you gotta do is turn a movie on for the kids downstairs and escape to their bedroom so you can talk to a camera. So you are sitting on top of their hamper in the middle of the room so that I can talk to you and tell you what we've been reading this week. This is about half to a third of what I checked out from the library this week, because do you ever go in the library and it's like the book fumes or something just make you want to check out all the books? Well, we did that. And there's been a decent amount of reading going on, not as much as in weeks past because I've had a cold and so reading makes me cough, so we've been listening to more audiobooks. And we've been watching a movie every night this week because it's been hot and it's a good activity to do where everybody just stays calm and sits still-ish and doesn't get as warm. But I thought we would go over a few of the books that we have read from the gigantic stack, which took like 3 bags to bring home. So the first one is Dinosaur vs. Bedtime. This is a favorite of our family. It is better read when I am not sick because all of the roaring was just not going very well. So it was a very pathetic sounding Dinosaur vs. Bedtime. All of the Dinosaur vs. books are adorable and we thoroughly enjoy them. I got Pete the Cat, Groovy Guide to Love, because generally we like Pete the Cat. This book, however, is fairly lame. It has, like, quotes about love, and then, like, the drawings are cool, and they're Pete the Cat drawings, and then they'll have, like, kind of, I don't know, Pete will say something in reference to the quote, but it's not like a story, which is kind of what I was hoping it would be. But the art is good, as Pete the Cat art tends to be. Old MacDonald Had a Dragon by Ken Baker. This book is kind of funny. It's about Old MacDonald having a dragon, and all of the other animals on the farm are having none of that. So they all keep getting mad at him as soon as he's singing Old MacDonald Had a whatever. They get mad that they're in the song because, spoiler alert, the dragon keeps eating the animals. But it all turns out okay at the end. The next book was The House of 12 Bunnies, which it was kind of an interesting math book. It's about 12 bunnies, obviously, that live in a house. And so it keeps telling you, goes through all these different pages about things that are happening in their life. And like this one, it says, in the dining room, there are 3 high chairs, 6 wooden tables, 2 wicker chairs, and a stool with a wobbly leg. Well, if you add up the numbers 3 plus 6 plus 2 plus 1, you get 12. And so there's 12 of everything, but there are different ways of adding it up. Like in this one is in the living room, there are 4 trumpets, 1 piano, 2 drums, 4 violins, and a guitar. 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 1 is 12. So it's kind of a cool, for the younger boys, you know, it was just a good story. For my 7-year-old, it was a cool way to see math broken down in different ways. Then, what else? We have The Ugly Caterpillar. This book, the art was alright, and it's got a pretty heavy message of, like, you should like people regardless of their appearance, because some of the bugs don't like the caterpillar because they think it's too ugly. But some of the bugs think that's okay, and they want to be friends with the caterpillar regardless of how it looks. Ultimately, what happens to a caterpillar? They become butterflies, and then they're pretty and everybody wants to be their friend. So, I don't know. It also is kind of funny. This book says that it's complimentary, as though it was given to the library. And I can see why. It isn't necessarily a book I think they would have gone out of their way to get, but it has a good message. And probably something that's good to be reinforced, though I don't know that you need a book to do it. The favorite books of the kids this week, my husband actually picked these out, were Skippy John Jones in Mummy Trouble, and he's done most of the read of Skippy John Jones. I'm not a huge fan of reading of Skippy John Jones. I have no problem with the books. They're just not my favorite stories to read. But the more you read them, the better they get, because sometimes I find the cadence of Skippy John Jones to be kind of jarring as you're trying to read it, but the more you read the book, the more you kind of learn how to make the rhythm make sense. And the other one was Skippy John Jones Class Action. So those have both been favorites this week. Those have gotten read a lot of times. Last week for Tuesday Tea Time, we read this book called Someday by Eileen Spinelli. And it's all about like different frames of time. So like the girl's talking about what she's doing today, and there's like a little poem about that. And then there's a poem about someday, and it'll talk about what she'll do someday. and it goes through different time periods, right now, someday, and so it's taking things in her life currently and then making them on a bigger scale, like when she's grown up, but kind of in a pretend way. So the art was good, the poems were good, the kids enjoyed it, I enjoyed it. We also read this book called Sleepless Night, and my 4-year-old loves this book. So it's about a knight who is going to go on a camping trip, and he is riding his trusty steed, Edward, and it's like a graphic novel, so it's got the pictures and then like the speech bubbles is how the whole story's told. And they're going camping, and he forgets his teddy bear, and they encounter some other animals in the woods. But the cool thing is, on the inside cover, it shows you how to draw the knight and how to draw Edward, his horse, and on the back cover is how to draw the rabbit and how to draw a bear. So the 4-year-old asked me to sit down and draw them with him, so I drew some very poor renditions of those drawings, but it was nice as they had the step-by-step pictures. I was able to kind of figure out how to do it, because I am not the world's best artist by any means. Not that I don't give it a go from time to time. So I drew those out, and then he had me cut them out, and he has been doing puppet shows, which has been awesome. The other book we read another chapter of A Long Way from Chicago. We are 2 chapters from the end, and we're really looking forward to seeing how it all wraps up, though we're kind of sad the book's going to be over. And then the final book I read was Bug in a Vacuum. This book is really cool. I mean, the kids enjoyed it, but they didn't necessarily understand it so much. It's a book about the stages of grief, and it's telling a number of stories all at once, because you see there's the dog, and it tells a story about him and his toy. And then there's the fly, and it tells a story about what's happening to the fly and the vacuum. And it goes through, and it kind of tells how the fly encounters the vacuum, and so does the dog's toy. And then it walks you through all of the stages of grief that the fly is having going on in its head, and the dog is having outside of the vacuum, while the toy and the fly are in the vacuum. So it's a very interesting look. The art is all very dark, but still beautiful. And I thoroughly enjoyed it and want to spend some more time with this book, because there's obviously a lot of layers that you don't necessarily get on just a few short readings. There's a lot to pick up in it. So that is my book basket for the week. If you check back next Wednesday, I will have another one. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, things we should be reading, post them below for me, and I'll see you later. Bye!